Good evening, Jennifer, and welcome to
Hey.
Environmental Coffee House, everyone. It is Friday night, and here we are. And let me tell you, it is hat and horror night. No, what was the other word we are going to say? It's hat night. It's hat
Yeah,
night on
that night.
Environmental Coffee House, and we actually have some good stuff tonight.
Yeah,
How you been, Jen?
sure do. I've been good personally. Yeah, I've been super busy with all sorts of projects at work, but I have been overall very well. But man, is there a lot going on in the world right now? It's
Yeah.
kind of like a cluster on all sorts of levels. And we thought we'd do a little retrospective tonight of what's been going on in the world and kind of a little nod to history. So, Sandy, do you want me to give the 30,000-foot overview?
Give the 30,000-foot overview, yes.
All
And hi,
right.
everyone. Let me just say hi to Kim, our wonderful mod. Hello, Kim, darling.
Yeah.
It's good to see you. All right, Jennifer, you give give the overview.
So, we're having a huge thunderstorm
Oh,
here right now. It's very
oh
exciting. So,
no. Okay.
yeah, and right now, and there's like loads of lightning, and a big red cell of rain went over us, and it was like the freaking Noah's. I mean, it's just like a freaking deluge here in Boulder, Colorado. It's kind of amazing what happens sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
But
All right.
we're obviously in a cluster of a fuck, but where have we been? And our first article tonight is from phys.org, and it's the physics of a climate change was described in the 1800s by scientist Eunice Foote.
Yeah.
So
Go
a little
Eunice.
nod. Go
Woohoo!
Eunice,
Go Eunice.
dude.
We're going to
And
chat
just wait
about
till you
that.
hear what Eunice has done.
Yes,
Oh my God.
absolutely. Absolutely. Go for it, Jen.
And our second one is from CNN, just out today, actually. And it's everywhere. It's been on the New York Times, it's in all the major things. It's caught people's attention. The amount of Greenland ice that melted on Tuesday could cover Florida in 2 inches of water. Fun facts to know and tell about
Yeah, fun
Greenland and how much
facts.
ice is melting in Greenland. And then back over to our favorite, Nornical, the big company in Siberia that we love to hate. Mining a metal
Yes.
giant, Nornical expands on northern sea route. And it says it intends to build several icebreakers and invest
Ding.
26 billion rubles in its Dunica seaport. So that's kind of interesting
Mm-hmm.
because we remember, Sandy, we just read about some icebreakers that were being built, but
Yeah,
these ones
we
are
sure did.
gas powered. So they're building a whole bunch of icebreakers as well. So let's just break it
Yeah.
all up.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
not much
They
Arctic. I don't
definitely
know
get
why
the
they're
drip.
spending all this money on Arctic, icebreakers. If they
Yeah.
just wait like, 2 years, you can
Yeah,
have it.
exactly. They could just sail on through. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Oh, God, such a great. All
Oh.
right. And the next one's from Mike.com. For the record, this lake in Patagonia is not supposed to be neon pink. So strange colors coming up due to pollution. And if you're not thoroughly depressed already, our last one is from abc.net.au in Australia. Dead shriveled frogs are unexpectedly turning up across eastern Australia. We need your help to find out why.
Yeah.
Little froggies.
Yeah. Little
Yeah,
froggies. Little
that's
froggies.
right.
All right, Jen. Well, I like the first one, and we're gonna get started on that one, guys. And hi, Russell Gannon and Keith. Hi, Keith Hayes. Hi, Keith. I promise about that. Keith sent me a project to look at, and it was pretty
Oh,
cool,
good.
actually. Yeah, pretty cool,
Excellent.
actually. A lot of work for right now, but pretty cool. All right. So what we're gonna do is we are going to bring up the first one, and Jennifer and I are going to tag team it because it's really important. And oh, what the hell is that? It's really important, I think. And so this one I'll give it a start. The physics of climate change was described in the 1800s by scientist Eunice Foote. Now, long before the current political divide over climate change, and even before the Civil War, 1861 to 1865, an American scientist named Eunice Foote was documented. She documented the underlying cause of today's climate crisis. And this might be a little bit of a, going over history for those of you who already know the story, but I was happy to see this. So, American scientist Eunice Foote she documented this, 1856, and her brief scientific paper was the first to describe the extraordinary power of carbon dioxide gas to absorb the heat, the driving force of global warming. Well, it's both. Warning. Carbon dioxide, odorless, tasteless, transparent gas that forms when people burn fossil fuels. It's, coal, oil, gasoline, and wood. And as the Earth's surface heats, one might think, that the heat would just radiate back into space. But it's not that simple. Not that simple, as most of us know. The atmosphere stays hotter than expected, mainly due to greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, atmospheric water vapor. It all absorbs the outgoing heat, and those are called the greenhouse gases because, not unlike the glass of a greenhouse, they trap heat in the Earth's atmosphere and radiate it back to the planet's surface. The idea that the atmosphere trapped heat was known but not the cause. So basically, guys, this is just like I said, it's a little repeat, it's a little primer, but with the female scientist, here, that she was one of the first ones. So you want to take it over, Jen?
Yeah.
All right.
Foote conducted a simple experiment. She put a thermometer in each of 2 glass cylinders, pumped carbon dioxide gas into one and air into the other, and set the cylinders in the sun. The cylinder containing carbon dioxide got much hotter than the one with air, and Foote realized that carbon dioxide would strongly absorb heat in the atmosphere. Foote's discovery of the high heat absorption of carbon dioxide gas led her to conclude that if air had mixed with it a higher proportion of carbon dioxide than at the present, an increase in temperature would result. Yeah. A few years later, in 1861, the well-known Irish scientist John Tyndall also measured the heat absorption of carbon dioxide and was so surprised that something so transparent and light could strongly absorb heat that he made several hundred experiments with this single substance. Tyndall also recognized the possible effects on the climate, saying every variation of water vapor or carbon dioxide must produce a change of climate. He also noted that the contribution of other hydrocarbon gases, such as methane, could make climate change, writing, an almost inappreciable addition of gases like methane would have great effects on the climate. So this was like 165 years ago.
And here's her paper. I made it bigger before, but this is her paper. And
Wow.
Remember how they typed them back then? They typed them on the typewriter and then they printed them
Wow.
out with the hand cranking print. Well, that's her manuscript right there.
That's so cool.
All right. You want me to go?
Yeah.
Humans were already increasing carbon dioxide in the 1800s. Duh, we knew this. By the 1800s, human activities were already dramatically increasing the carbon dioxide, burning more and more fossil fuels, coal, and eventually oil and gas added an ever increasing amount of carbon dioxide into the air. The first quantitative estimate of carbon dioxide induced climate change was made by Svante Ehrenheis, a Swedish scientist and Nobel laureate. In 1896, he calculated that the temperature in the Arctic regions would rise 8 or 9 degrees Celsius if carbon dioxide increased 2 to 3 times its level at that time. Arrhenius' estimate was a likely conservative one. Since 1900, right? Atmospheric carbon has risen from about 300 parts per million to around 417 parts per million as a result of human activities. And the Arctic has already warmed by 3.8 C or 6.8 Fahrenheit. So, we knew this, and I bet there was a lot of deniers, Jennifer, for all these years when all this stuff was readily available. Go for it. Boom, boom. Your turn.
Nils Ekholm, a Swedish meteorologist, agreed, writing in 1901, that the present burning of pit coal is so great that if it continues, it must undoubtedly cause a very obvious rise in the mean temperature of the Earth. That was 1901. Mm-hmm. Ekholm noted that carbon dioxide acted in a layer high in the atmosphere, above water vapor layer, where the small amounts of carbon dioxide mattered. So that's the blanket on top of everything. Yep. All of this was understood well over a century ago. Well, actually, 120 years if you count that thing with Ekholm. So initially, scientists thought a possible rise in the Earth's temperature could be a benefit, but these scientists could not envision the coming huge increases in fossil fuel use. In 1937, English engineer Guy Callender documented how rising temperatures correlated with rising carbon dioxide levels. By fuel combustion, man has added about 150,000 million tons of carbon dioxide to the air during the past half century.
150,000 million tons. Does that sound right? 150,000 million tons. Wow.
Yes. Okay.
That's wild.
Yeah. World temperatures have actually increased. So let's take a good look at this graph, Sandy. We can spend a little bit of time on it. It's nice and big. So be sure to show the bottom where it has the dates.
All right, let me move it up.
That's good. You got it. No, it's perfect.
Okay. It doesn't have. It says it's the Keeling curve tracks. Okay, you go ahead.
Yeah, it's the Keeling curve. Yeah, I mean, this is the classic hockey stick, and the sharpest rise is coincidentally kind of when this whole thing started in 1958. Mauna Loa, they started taking samples of carbon dioxide in the purest place on Earth, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and they built a big observatory at the top of Mauna Loa, and that's where they take these carbon dioxide samples. So that happened in 1958, and that's the Keeling curve that's all kind of jagged right there at the end. It's also the part that's starting to really obviously go exponential. And even within the Keeling curve itself, from 1958 to 2021 present, you can see there is a slight, it's like a curve, right? It's not really straight. It's going up a little bit more. So the steepness of the curve is increasing. So that's the trend. So the trend is, by definition, exponential.
Exponential.
Unfortunately. So that's where we've been. That's where we are. You want to take it away?
Sure. So a warning to the president in 1965. In 65, scientists warned President Lyndon Johnson about the growing climate risk, concluding man is unwittingly conducting a vast geophysical experiment. Within a few generations, He is burning the fossil fuels that slowly accumulated in the earth over the past 500 million years. The scientists issued clear warnings of high temperatures, melting ice caps, rising sea levels, and acidification of ocean waters. But in the half century that has followed that warning, more of the ice has melted and sea level has risen and further in it, and the acidification due to ever increasing absorption of carbon dioxide forming carbonic acid has become a critical problem for ocean dwelling organisms.
Mm.
Jen?
Scientific research has vastly strengthened the conclusion that human-generated emissions from the burning of fossil fuels are causing dangerous warming of the climate and a host of harmful effects. Politicians, however, have been slow to respond, don't we know it?
Yeah.
Some follow an approach, slow to respond. I think that's graceful, don't you?
Yeah, I think that's very graceful. Yes,
Some follow an approach
very.
that has been used by some fossil fuel companies of denying and casting doubt on the truth, while others want to wait and see, despite the overwhelming evidence that harm and costs will continue to rise. The fact reality is now, in fact, reality is now fast overtaking scientific models. The mega drought and heat waves in the western US, record high temperatures and zombie fires in Siberia, massive wildfires in Australia, and the US West relentless, intense Gulf Stream and European rains and more powerful hurricanes are all harbingers of increasing climate disruption. The world has known about the warming risk posed by excessive levels of carbon dioxide for decades,
For
even before
decades.
the invention of cars or coal-fired power stations. A rare female scientist in her time, Eunice Foote, explicitly warned about the basic science 165
Yeah.
years ago. Why haven't we listened more closely?
Well, Jennifer, I will postulate that she had the wrong genetics to be taken seriously. And I'm sorry, guys out there, but we women had to fight very hard to become a person and be able to vote. And she was probably brilliant and maybe a bit overlooked. But it doesn't
Mhm.
matter. It's not blaming. It's not fault. It's just the sign of the times, the times then. But why didn't we listen? I mean, of course, we can't go back and do all that. Why didn't we? But many people have. Many people
Mhm.
have. And governments are still not listening. And it's really all the bottom line is the almighty buck. The almighty buck.
Ain't it the truth?
Ain't it the truth? Ain't it the truth? So we've got a pretty good group here, and I think we should move on, Jen, to our next one.
Okay.
And I'd like you to take this one and start this one
Sure.
because now this is mainstream media, guys. If this is on CNN,
Mhm.
somebody's paying attention because
I saw this very same article in the New York Times
yeah,
today.
it's a
Everybody is
mainstream.
reporting on this. I think this has grabbed people's attention because there's been a lot of, publicity about Florida, subsidence and sea level rise impacting Florida, which is totally flat and like Swiss cheese built on, Swiss cheese limestone. Not good. You can't build a wall. So Florida is going away, and that thought is starting to take hold in people's imaginations.
Mm-hmm.
And this
Mm-hmm.
particular statistic, the amount of Greenland ice that melted on Tuesday could cover Florida in 2 inches of water just out today. So
All right.
Greenland is experiencing its most significant melting event of the year as temperatures in the Arctic surge. The amount of ice that melted on Tuesday alone would be enough to cover the entire state of Florida in 2 inches of water. It's the third instance of extreme melting in the past decade, during which time the melting has stretched farther inland than the entire satellite era, which began in the 1970s. Greenland lost more than 8.5 billion tons of surface mass on Tuesday and 18.4 billion tons since Sunday, according to the Denmark Meteorological Institute. While this week's total ice loss is not as extreme as a similar event in 2019, a record melt year, the area of ice, the ice sheet that's melting, is large. It's a significant melt. And this is a guy from the National Snow and Ice Data Center in University of Colorado.
Oh, that's
Yay!
cool. Wonderful.
I
Wonderful.
know. You gotta love it. There's a lot of stuff happening in Colorado.
Yeah,
So
there
it
is.
says July 27th saw the most of the eastern half of Greenland from the northern tip all the way down to the
Ooh,
southern tip mostly melted. So the east
let me
side
see
of
if I can make
Greenland,
this
that
bigger.
entire giant, island full of ice, it was like all melting on the eastern side.
Oh, I see. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Okay, are you able to see it? The
Yeah.
It's a little small
So what
for
it
the group.
is
Okay, there we
yeah.
go.
So we can see that. So we can kind of like, and then you can pull it down every so often so we
Mm-hmm.
can see it.
Yeah.
But that's good. That graphic is really good. See how that graphic goes straight up? It's just really stunning. That graph, it goes along and then boop. This is an annual graph. Maybe you could blow that up just a tiny little bit again so we can see that graph.
Okay.
There you go. Oh,
This and
well.
then the graph.
Can we see it there? Oh, good. Oh, fabulous.
Baby, I can do
Fabulous.
anything, Jennifer.
Fabulous. So this is an annual graph, January through December, and this has the standard deviation of 2% and the mean of 1981 to 2010,
Mm-hmm.
that 30-year average. And then 2021. Check out 2021. I
Yeah,
mean,
look at
that
that.
is just freaking out of line. So
Wow.
that's an extreme melt event, and that's
Wow.
adding to sea level rise.
Wow. Big time
Yeah,
wow. Big time
yeah,
wow.
yeah,
All right. Let me go back.
yeah. Um,
You ready?
yeah. In the past decade, we've already seen that surface melting in Greenland has become both more severe and more erratic, said Thomas Slater, glaciologist at the University of Leeds and a co-author of this report. As the atmosphere continues to warm over Greenland, events such as yesterday's extreme melting will become more frequent. Although the current ice meltdown in Greenland isn't record setting, the magnitude at which these events occur is a clear signal of how climate change is creating more melt periods. Overall, we're seeing that Greenland melts more often.
Mm.
Also, from Gambos at the National Snow and Ice Data Center, in previous decades or centuries, it's extremely rare to get above freezing temperatures at the summit of Greenland, but it happened this year. Not anymore.
No, to the bottom.
Not anymore. In 2019, Greenland shed roughly 532 billion tons of ice into the sea. During that year, an unexpectedly hot spring and a July heat wave caused the most of the entire ice sheet surface to begin melting.
Oh
Global sea
boy.
level rose permanently by 1.5 millimeters as a result of this one July heat wave. And
Wow.
that's irrevocable. That water is not going to refreeze.
Look at it.
So it's just, between the heating of the oceans and the more water being deposited into the oceans, it's not looking good for Florida. Ugh,
Florida, Florida. It doesn't look
yeah.
good for Florida, duh, in very
No.
many ways.
No.
No.
This is interesting, though, this next
Yeah.
part. As Greenland's surface continues to thaw, coastal cities around the world are vulnerable to storm surge flooding, especially when extreme weather coincides with high tides. Melting from Greenland is expected to raise global sea levels between 2 and 10 centimeters by the end of what is he smoking? 2 to 10
What's
centimeters?
he smoking?
So, really? I mean,
Oh,
he, t- 2 to 10 feet or more,
wow.
honestly, this guy's way off. So I
Okay,
don't
well,
know
it's
what you want
CNN.
me to say.
Remember, we're reading CNN.
Massive ice sheets can melt rapidly when the air temperature is warm, but warmer ocean water is also eroding the ice sheet around the edges, as we know. As humans release heat trapping greenhouse gases, the warming atmosphere thaws the fresh white ice, which reflects the sun's energy back into space on the surface. That exposes the darker
Hmm.
ice below, which absorbs the solar energy and causes more melting, and on and on
On.
and on, and it just runs. Additionally, warmer coastal water melts the ice sheet around the edges, breaking off massive icebergs that contribute to sea level rise. Scientists say that the trends at which climate change is accelerating are quite clear, and that unless emissions are curbed, such extreme events will continue to occur more frequently. While such events are concerning, the science is clear. Meaningful climate targets and action can still limit. Yes, it always ends like this, Sandy. Well,
Always.
it's good. It's good. It's good to can still limit how much the global sea level will rise this century, reducing the damage done by severe flooding to people and infrastructure around the world.
There you go.
Oh
Yeah,
my
well, that was
God.
CNN. That was, but at least they're reporting on the stuff. They're
Yeah.
reporting on things, so it's different than remember last year and the year before. It was a lot scantier, and the year before that. So it's happening. Well,
It is. It is.
but what is this going to do? I don't know. I mean,
I
Bezos is
mean,
still flying around. All the billionaires are still flying around. I mean, this is the Washington Post is still
oh my God.
trying to bamboozle everybody. I will not pay for that. Not look at any of their stuff. Nope, nope, nope,
Oh
not
my
me.
God.
Well, anyway, Jen, we then are going to segue. We have another article which is going to be about Nornickel and mining and all in
Yeah.
Siberia. But we want to play this young gal we found. We found a video, and we would like to play this video for you. So we're going to segue there, and we hope that you like this. She's not very well known, and I'm going to hope this works, and we are going to go for it.
Hi guys, I'm Kyun and I'm from Yakutia. From the most coldest place on earth where the temperature is going down to minus 60 degrees by Celsius. It's located in the zone of continuous permafrost and more than 40% of the territory is located above the Arctic Circle. Also the place which has the most beautiful nature and wild animals. Yakutia is also one of those rare places on the planet where the pristine purity of nature and the diversity of flora and fauna are currently preserved. Currently I live in China, but this summer for all my family and my hometown has been unbelievably terrible. This summer the extraordinary forest fires, which have already burned 1.5 million hectares on land of my hometown. It's also became a apocalypse for all of my family and all of the people who live there. The thick toxic smoke which my family choking every day. The smoke has been seen as a health hazard for anyone who lived there, and the elderly in particular. So, how it all started? While I've been living in China, I saw on the internet how my friends, they were sharing the news, how the local people were fighting against the fires. Also, my mom told me that how the local people are trying to collect money to fight against these raging fires. Meanwhile, I saw on the internet how the Russian's Minister of Defense sent an amphibious plane to Turkey to help them to battle wildfires. So after I saw this news, I was really disappointed how during this difficult situation, Russia is trying to play a political game. So after seeing this news, all of Yakutian people started asking help from everyone, including this Minister of Defense, also Leonardo DiCaprio. So after a while, Leonardo DiCaprio, he replied to these messages, and he wanted to help to fight against these wildfires, but Russia refused. So after this news became global, Russia decided to send planes, but of course it was already too late. The first fire began on May, and it already burned more than 1.5 million hectares. So why do you think I made this video? And why forest fires in Yakutia may threaten all of us? The wildfires are part of a vicious climate cycle. Not only is climate change stoking the fires, but they burn even more carbon into the atmosphere, which worsens the crisis. Wildfires in Yakutia have been releasing record amounts of greenhouse gases, which is contributing to global warming. Global warming is real and presents an existential threat to the Earth and us. The last 7 years have been the warmest 7 years on record and dramatic warming trend. While you often hear dire prognostications for the future, we are actually already experiencing substantial impact. So please, let's take care of planet Earth together.
Well, I thought that was wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
That's so good.
glad that we could share her with you. And if you'd like the information on her, oops, I got to turn something off. It will be in the show notes. Okay, guys, it will be in the show notes. And there's a lot that people are not talking about, right? Hi, Dwayne. Hi, Evelina. Hi, Kim, Hunter, and Karen Reese, and Jintao, and Gazer, and Steve Wilbrett. We have a full house. Rich Diana, saw you today
Yeah,
earlier. Jim
awesome.
McHenry. Don't forget to go and watch Jim McHenry's weekly protests. He did one this morning in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Spectacular data he always has on the top of his mind. He remembers everything. Please don't forget to go to see Jim. I'll put a link in the show notes for his newest videos. So now what we are going to do is we are going to go to the mining route, and I'm going to start this one for us about Nornickel, our favorite, right, Jennifer? Our favorite company.
We've done a lot of stories
Yeah,
on Nornickel.
We
a
have.
lot.
We have.
Yeah.
All right. So the icebreakers, they're going to build several icebreakers and invest 26 billion rupees in its Dodinka seaport. So here they are. They are the world's leading producer of nickel, and they aim to boost deliveries from its far northern mines and metallurgy. Now, am I pronouncing that? Metallurgy.
I believe so.
Metallurgy. Okay. Plants
I believe
and
so.
now plans a major upgrade of its regional infrastructure. The plans include the building of at least one LNG-powered icebreaker, as well as a fleet of new ice-breaking vessels for seaport operations. In addition, Nornickel will take part in the development of a new nuclear-powered icebreaker, according to the company. Wow. The mining and metallurgy giant will also invest heavily in infrastructure in Dudinka, the seaport of the Yenisei River, that serves the industry facilities in Taimur. According to TASS, up to 26 billion rubles, which is what, 300 million, is that lira?
Euro.
Or euros,
Euros.
will over the next years be spent on a comprehensive facelift that includes a full modernization of the seaport cranes. And I need glasses, guys. I finally need glasses. A key partner in the infrastructure upgrade is the state nuclear power company Rosatom. Oh, we all know and love Rosatom. The two companies in late July, they signed a deal that outlines an exchange of services and joint development of new ships. So according to this agreement, the parts are to access or assess the possible joint construction of a nuclear-powered one. A nuclear-powered that can replace, I lost my place, sorry, that can replace, look at that. Wow. All right. They want to replace everything. Their whole current thing. You want to take over for a minute? I lost my place. The new LNG.
The new LNG-powered icebreaker developed by Nornickel is to be operated by Rosatom, and a 15-year deal on escort services.
Jen? Did we lose Jen? She froze. She should be back in a second. I'll take it over until she comes back. So anyway, these will, I'm just going to say, the cooperation with Rosatom will positively affect Russia's state program on the development of the Arctic. This person argues. According to the company leader, the new icebreakers are directly needed. The expansion and modernization of the icebreaking fleet is a critical and urgent task, he told Kommersant. So Nornickel is not the only private company now engaged in development of new icebreakers. Natural gas company Novatek is also in the process of planning construction of LNG-powered icebreakers, and so are some oil and coal companies. So according to the Vyacheslav Rushka, right, leader of Rosatom's Northern Sea Route Directorate, there is likely to be built 4 LNG-powered icebreakers by 2030. 2 of them will be funded by Novatek, one by Nornickel and one by an oil or coal company. So basically, Russia's not stopping. Really, the United States is not stopping. Is anyone really stopping? And I'm sure Jennifer's going to come right back. Let me see if she's written to me. So we don't see that the desire to look for fossil fuels in any way, shape, or form is going to stop. Well, she hasn't written to me, so we still have another article, and we have another 2 articles actually, and we're gonna wait for Jennifer. So let's see what some of you are talking about until Jennifer comes back, which she will. What video should be a shareable item? Okay, Jennifer's back. Jennifer is back. I
don't know what happened. We're having a storm here.
Yeah, you're having a storm there. That's a little creepy. You got all our storms have blown out to you because, my gosh. Well, I've told you what's happened with me with the storms. I just hope your basement walls don't want to fall in like mine are.
Well, I had to divert some of the stuff because I was having like things flow in through like the window well kind of on the sides, and it was like building up, and I'm like, no. So I just got a little kind of diverter, sort of a flexible rubber thing, and put it on the drain pipe and
outside.
Put it someplace else.
All right.
Yeah, outside.
That's a good, easy fix. Mine's not going to be so easy.
It is. I know.
Mine is like a little hole pinprick, and the water is coming out like this through the foundation like it's a dam, and you
Oh
have to put your
God.
finger in the dike. Oh yeah,
Oh,
I'm like, but I'm gonna do this easy fix first. I'm doing whatever's cheapest first. So whatever
yeah.
I can figure out from YouTube University is where I'm going. Where I'm
Oh
going. All right.
gosh.
Well, we have a lot of people with us, and we have a lot to cover. So
Oh, we do.
Kim asked you, is it raining in Boulder?
Well, we had yes, we had flood warnings here, and there was like two big red cells, kind of like on the storm tracker that went directly overhead, and there was a lot of thunder and lightning, and there was a huge. I mean, it's just like freaking pissing rain, very dramatic. And then it kind of passed, after about doesn't keep it up that long, maybe
Oh,
20 minutes or
yeah, but
something.
they're
But we
torrential
had two of
rains.
them. And now they're more predicted. So we're kind of in the stream of these things. So it's going to be interesting to see how my little flood diversion techniques work out for
Well,
my window wells.
I have that. It's running in through the window well, but we've got this rain that it doesn't stop. It's relentless. It rains. It rains torrentially for an hour, and
Ugh,
then I have to go downstairs and I have the buckets and all that. But it's just what's going to happen, guys.
yeah,
We have to acclimate. We have to understand that these things are going to happen. It's not just normal stuff. It's not just
yeah,
normal, and that's it. That's it. I mean,
yeah,
what am I going to do? I'm not going to freak out. It's to be expected. And I am
yeah,
proactive and I will fix it. And the first thing I'm going to do is do it myself from,
yeah,
French drains and dig it and put the gravel in and we'll see what happens. And I got a thing that goes over the window and you drill it in and it's a big it's more plastic again, guys. It's horrible, but it goes right over the window and it will stop the rain from seeping in because I got
yeah,
to clear like a silicone caulk. Everything is toxic plastic. There's no way around it. You want to fix your
right.
house? I can't do this with I can't do it with mulch.
Adobe.
I can't Adobe. I can't do it with compost.
No,
Oh my gosh. Oh,
no.
resilient Sandy. All right,
It
guys.
has
Well,
gone beyond that. We need
yeah.
industrial strength products to deal with these
Yeah, but Bill is right.
situations.
Deep adaptation. This is the topsoil. I don't know
Yeah.
what's happening, but you know what we're going to move to, though? We're going to move to now, we've covered the gamut in a lot of things. And now tonight, we're going to move to Patagonia. We are going to move to a very disturbing scene, which is a pink lake. Pink lake. I mean,
Very strange looking,
yeah,
isn't
pink
it?
lake. Yeah, this is from Mike, and this is not supposed to be neon pink. So take it away,
No.
Jen.
Right. For the record, this lake in Patagonia is not supposed to be neon pink. So this just came out a
Disgusting.
couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
The green in the eyes of greedy corporations dumping waste from their factories has environmentalists in Argentina seeing red because one of their lakes has turned pink. The Corfu Lagoon, a body of water in the Patagonia region, recently took on a bright pink hue that makes it look like a cotton candy lake. But the experts warn that the distinct coloration is the result of pollution from nearby fish factories that are putting residents at risk.
Gosh, I hope
The
it's
lake,
not cat food.
oh God, the lake started turning pink last week, according to a report from French news agency Agence France Presse. The change in color, according to environmentalists, is the result of an excess of sodium sulfite. It is an antibacterial agent and chemical compound often used to preserve shellfish, which fish factories near Corfu Lagoon reportedly use on prawns that are to be exported. The problem: officials in the Chubut province recently gave factories the okay to dump their waste in the lagoon, and the excess sodium sulfite that the waste has now polluted Corfu's water as well as the rest of the Chubut River and other smaller bodies of water. Within days, the water turned pink. While the lake's pink color is striking, environmental control chief for Chubut province told AFP that it does not cause damage and will disappear in a few days. But locals aren't convinced, and perhaps more importantly, would simply rather not be exposed to pollution, even if supposedly harmless. It is not possible to minimize something so serious, said a resident. The lagoon itself isn't used as a water source, nor is it a swimming hole or anything else that people may interact with. But it is now a symbol of reckless abandon of the fishing industry, which makes up much of the region's local economy. Officials gave the go-ahead for factories to dump their waste after residents who had previously complained about the smell generated by these factories blocked the path of trucks that typically transport the waste right through the city on the way to the treatment plants. Well, the dumping plants, more like it. The law requires fish waste to be treated before being dumped, and environmental activists told AFP that locals are sick of multi-million-dollar profit companies taking that particular route instead of paying to transport waste to a different treatment plant 35 miles away or build a facility nearby.
Oh, that's so hard.
We get dozens of trucks daily. The residents are getting tired of it. Do you want to take it, Sandy?
Sure. Okay. Let me get it back on.
Whether the water is
actually safe might be up for debate, but it's probably worth considering that the law requires the water to be treated for a reason. But the effects of the pollution, it's quite real. While the Pink Lake is perhaps the most eye-catching example of it, waterways across the world are being destroyed by industry. Polluted waters in Lebanon have resulted in mass death of fish in lakes and rivers. Lake Uru in Bolivia, once home to a massive flamingo population, has turned black from mining runoff and is now home to mountains of plastic waste. So left alone, these bodies of water would sparkle in their own natural hues. Instead, they've been turned into dumping grounds. The color might catch our eyes, but it's the cause that deserves our attention. And it makes it makes you feel bad when you see the cumulative effect of all this on everything that we use in our lives. We are part of the system, as I've said before. I'm selling like everything I own, and I'm moving my store, and I want to get rid of everything. But you still, I mean, to fix my house, I have to use these things that could potentially turn a pond somewhere a color, or have a runoff, or have a polluting side effect. It just makes me crazy, Jennifer. It's just sometimes I just feel like I can't win. None of us can win.
So frustrating. It is so frustrating.
It is. So I guess now we're going to move on to the pièce de
Something
résistance.
if you are not thoroughly depressed yet, this next one will probably put you over the edge.
But we have covered quite a lot in this evening of articles, because
haven't we done?
I wanted to go from this. We wanted to go from, why didn't we do anything? We wouldn't be in this boat, but we can't go backwards. No. And there are a lot of people that are working on solutions and programs and all this awesome, amazing stuff. And hopefully, regardless of the outcome, Jen, we can have some of them on coming year, which would be awesome. Yep, because there are those amazing people out there, the people that do all this, that are out there day after day tirelessly. So why don't
Uh,
you start this one? And here we go.
okay.
Bring up the rear
All
with
right.
this.
So, more death and destruction. This from Australia. Dead shriveled frogs are unexpectedly turning up across eastern Australia. We need your help to find out why. Look at that poor, cute little frog. Oh, it's heartbreaking already. He is a green tree frog. Over the past few weeks, we've received a flurry of emails from concerned people who've seen sick and dead frogs across eastern Victoria, New South Wales, and Queensland. One person wrote, about a month ago, I noticed green tree frogs living around our home, showing signs of lethargy and ill health. I was devastated to find 7 of them dead. Another person wrote, we have previously had a very healthy population of green tree frogs, and a couple of months ago, I noticed a frog had turned brown. I then noticed more of them and have found numerous dead frogs around our property.
God, that's sad.
It's really sad. And another said she'd seen so many dead frogs in her daily runs that she had to seriously wonder how many more are there. So, what's going on? The short answer is we don't really know. How many frogs have died and why is a mystery. And we're relying on the people across Australia to help us solve it. Well, I don't know. What could it be? I shouldn't. This is sad, actually. Why are frogs important? Frogs are an integral part of a healthy Australian ecosystem. While they usually small and unseen, they're an important thread in the food web and kind of environmental glue that keeps the ecosystems functioning. Healthy frog populations are a good indication of a healthy environment. What a cute little guy. And I
Yeah.
have a little guy in my yard. He's come to live in my
Me
lilies. He's
too.
so cute. Yes, he's a little, I don't know if he's a frog or a toad. I thought he was a toad, but I'm trying to keep my cat away from him
Oh no. Yeah, that's important.
because
Definitely.
she will not feel the same compassion to this little frog that I will. They eat vast amounts of invertebrates, including species, and they're a fundamental food source for a wide variety of other wildlife, including birds, mammals, and reptiles. Tadpoles fill our creeks, dams, keeping algae and mosquito larvae under control while they too become food for fish and other wildlife. But many of Australia's frog population are imperiled from multiple compounding threats, such as habitat loss and modification, climate change, invasive plants, animals, and diseases. Although we're fortunate to have at least 242 native frog species in Australia, 35 are considered threatened with extinction. At least 4 are considered extinct. And they talk about all these different frogs that became extinct. A truly
Okay.
unusual outbreak. Do you want to take this part?
Sure. Okay. A
Yeah.
truly unusual outbreak. In most circumstances, it is rare to see a dead frog. Most frogs are secretive in nature, and when they die, they decompose rapidly. So, the growing reports of dead and dying frogs from across eastern Australia over the last few months are surprising, to say the least. Gosh. While the first cold snap of each year can be accompanied by a few localized frog deaths, this outbreak has affected more animals over a greater range than previously encountered. This is truly an unusual amphibian mass mortality event. In this outbreak, frogs appear to be either darker or lighter than normal, slow. Out in the daytime, they're usually nocturnal and are thin. Some frogs have red bellies, red feet, and excessive slough
Look at
skin.
this poor little frog,
It's
Sandy.
terrible. He's horrible. He's shriveled up and it's terrible.
Oh,
The
poor
iconic green tree frog seems hardest hit in this event, with the often apple green and plump, frogs turning brown and shriveled. This frog is widespread and generally rather common. In fact, it's the ninth most commonly appearing frog in the National Citizen Science Project, which is what is it, Frog ID? But
Frog ID.
yeah, Frog ID. But it's disappeared
I
from parts
know.
of its former range. So other species reported as being among the sick and dying include the Perrin's tree frog, the Stony Creek frog, and green stream frog. They're all relatively common and widespread species in Australia, which is likely why they have been found in and around our gardens. But we simply don't know the true impacts of this event on Australia's frog species, particularly those that are rare, right? Or cryptic or living in remote places. So, well over 100 species of frogs live within the geographic range of this outbreak. Dozens of these are considered threatened, including the Boorlong frog, and the giant barred frog. Look at this guy.
Hmm.
So, Jennifer, what might
Wow.
be going on?
Amphibians are susceptible to environmental toxins and a wide range of parasitic, bacterial, viral, and fungal pathogens.
Oh, sounds like my
Frogs,
garden.
Ah, frogs globally have been battling it out with a pandemic of their own for decades, a potentially deadly fungus, often called amphibian uh, chytrid fungus. This fungus attacks the skin, which frogs use to breathe, drink, and control electrolytes important for the heart to function. It's also responsible for causing population declines in more than 500 amphibian species around the world and 50 extinctions. And they give an example. My God, look at this bright yellow and black southern Corobori frog.
That's a
Holy
fungus?
crap.
Wow.
Yes. Um, so this one is hanging on, but they've been really working with him to get him to hang on. Isn't he incredible looking?
He's incredible
Jeez.
looking.
Oh my
But
God.
there's the question. It's been here before, but why are we seeing so many now?
Yeah. Curiously, some other frog species appear more tolerant to the amphibian chytrid, whatever,
Chytrid.
chytrid, chytrid fungus than others. Many now common frogs seem to be able to live with the fungus, such as the ubiquitous Australian common eastern froglet. But if frogs have had this fungus affecting them for decades, why are we seeing so many dead frogs now? Well, disease is the outcome of a battle between a pathogen, a host, and the environment. The fungus doesn't do well in warm, dry conditions. So, during summer, frogs are more likely to have the upper hand. In winter, the tables turn. As the frog's immune system slows, the fungus may be able to take hold. Of course, the amphibian chytrid fungus
It's
is
10
just
o'clock.
one possible culprit. Other less well-known diseases affect frogs. To date, the Australian Registry of Wildlife has confirmed the presence of this fungus in a very small number of sick frogs they've examined in the recent outbreak. However, other diseases, such as rhinovirus, have also been responsible for native frog mass mortality events in Australia. So then there's a section of how you can help and more pictures of poor little frogs. It's very sad, Sandy. It's very, very sad
Very
to see
sad.
this.
This frog ID, let's see what it links to. Just in case any of you are interested. It's a website about, and it's from the Australian Museum. So it goes into, let me see if I can make this smaller for you guys. So why frogs count. So just in case you're interested, there it is. Wow. We've covered the world. We've covered the gamut. We've talked about
We have.
a lot of information tonight. How did we get here, Jennifer? How did we get here?
Greed, overpopulation, childish denial, lack of maturity as a species. Other than that, nothing much.
Yeah, there you go, Jennifer. There's the mouthful. Well, guys, we have been an hour, and it has been a really, fast hour. Holy crap. I didn't expect it to be this fast. It just went, it flew by. Hat night. Hat night,
Yes.
an environmental coffee house. And thank you, Tanya, and to your husband, too. Always. Jim's wife, Tanya, and they are going to be here at the end of the month camping.
Oh, great.
Yay, it's great. Warren left. He went on his merry way, and it's just been really a very cool summer, even with all the craziness that happens. I also want to thank everybody who has donated to our fundraiser. Thank you so very much, everyone. There's too many to name, but one day I will name everybody. We have 10 members, which is cool, and we've had many people help us, and that's a great thing because we are building something, and now that I have fiber optic, once summer's over, the sky is the limit, guys. The sky is the limit. All right. Oh yeah, they say they have their raft. Oh, they have their raft ready. You think I'm going to drop you off at Letchworth State Park? I'll just drop you guys off. I can't handle my canoe anymore. All right, Jennifer. Please like and subscribe, guys. Jennifer, you want to close?
This thing is increasing in speed, as we know. We're all conscious of it. We all follow it. It's good to have a nod to the past and see when we actually found this out 165 years ago, what we've done with that knowledge. Greenland's breaking apart. We continue to mine and rape the planet. Frogs are dying, and a lake is pink. So other than that, situation normal, Sandy.
Situation normal. The new normal. The new normal.
That's right.
All right, guys. We love you. We love you. Peace out. We shall see you again. We will let you know when we will be on again. No regular schedule for August. You just have to take your chances.